Let's talk about expectations and reality as it denotes Alabama football in 2025. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, welcome. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think Alabama will win 10 games in 2025? I know that the first thing that anybody tries to say when they talk about 2025 Alabama and winning 10 games is look at the schedule. I'm not so much interested in the schedule because Alabama plays in the SEC. And if there is one thing that we learned last year from SEC competition, it is that anybody in that league can give you the what for and the how now. And Alabama was a great example of just how true that was. Remember, 4 of their losses, 2 of them, came to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. They were beating up on people in non-conference like you read about. They also had a Jalen Milroe who was both feast and famine for them. When he was great, they beat the #1 team in the country in Georgia, a team that won the SEC championship, and a team that made the Final Four of the college football playoff. When they were bad, they took their first loss to Vanderbilt in 40 years as the #1 ranked team. When they were bad, they went to Oklahoma and got beat down 24-3, a team that went 1-5. 1-5 in the SEC. That's why I thought it was funny when Deontay Lawson spoke with ESPN. One of the things he was saying is Coach DeBoer has his feet under him in a way that he didn't last year. Coming in the middle of the transfer portal, watching guys like Caleb Downs go out the window, losing guys like Isaiah Bond, trying to keep Ryan Williams in the boat, was able to continue to do that and build something worth keeping without the core of what made his Washington team great, which was Michael Penix Jr. and Ryan Grubb. Few other pieces here. Jalen Polk I might throw in there. But Jeremy Bernard was there. This year, he's got Ryan Grubb back, whom people forget is a guy that Nick Saban tried to hire away in 2023. He's also going to have a new quarterback. What will be interesting to see is whether or not he goes with a guy that he helped recruit out of high school, another guy that they decided to go get that could compete this year, or Ty Simpson. I'm thinking what Ryan Grubb has to say is they've got 3 really good quarterbacks, and usually when you have 3 really good quarterbacks, you try to go with the veteran, the guy that's been around for some time. As much shade as we might throw at a guy like Ty Simpson, he has played a lot of ball for Alabama in spots, right? He's not a guy who is coming into this without any sort of pedigree, and I think that's one of the things we forget about Ty Simpson as we continue to figure out who and what the Alabama quarterback situation is going to be built around. You lose Justice Haynes, it's not a small thing, to the University of Michigan, a Michigan team that beat you in the ReliaQuest Bowl, right? But the standard at Alabama is not 9 wins. It would be a great standard for other programs, notably Oklahoma. But to say that that's not the standard is to say that this is no longer Nick Saban's Alabama. How much does that matter? I would say more than anything else. That's the reason that you go hire a Kalen DeBoer. You hire Kalen DeBoer because he can take on that really ridiculous expectation to compete for championships in each and every year after leaving a dude that won 6 national championships from 2009 to 2020, who made the college football playoff repeatedly, who was able to compete with Clemson, was able to compete with Ohio State, was able to compete with anybody that you wanted to play against. I would remind you that before this season, Kalen DeBoer had not, before last season, Kalen DeBoer had not lost 13 games as a head coach going back 20 years. Now, NAIA, we get it, right? Fresno State, we get it. But the man is a winner. So last year was as eye-opening for us as it was for him. And you got to see the bad cop side of Kalen DeBoer. The problem is you saw it on the sideline going at referees more often than not. Remind me a lot of what Matt Rule was doing at Nebraska. A lot of whining and complaining on that sideline. But the guy that he was in front of a microphone, person to person, to his players, kind, rides for them. Also making it clear that, all right, this year you're either on the train or you're not. This is year 2. Your relationships are deeper. You're supposed to have a better understanding of both the system offensively and defensively. And you understand when you came to Alabama that it's not supposed to stop running like it's ran when Nick Saban was head coach. It's one of the reasons he's still offices over there and he's walking around trying to keep tabs on this. But I think Kalen DeBoer is going to get it together this year. But winning 10 games is going to be asking a lot in a league where LSU expects to be better than they were, in a league where Texas A&M expects to be better than they were, in a league where Oklahoma might be better than it was, in a league where you can't turn down your nose at Auburn, you can't turn down your nose at Vanderbilt, you can't turn down your nose at South Carolina or Florida. It's just going to be difficult, all while Texas and Georgia continue to do what Texas and Georgia do. I am inclined to wait and see. However, I think 9 wins might be what's appropriate for Alabama in 2025. I think the expectation will be that they make the SEC championship game and they win 10 games. I don't see that for them this season with Arch Manning at quarterback for Texas, with Kirby Smart being able to put together a defense that can stifle anybody in the University of Georgia, with Florida feeling like they're coming into something worthwhile, with LSU spending all this money in the transfer portal, and with Oklahoma's Brent Venables with his back against the wall, having to get it done, calling defense for a program for the first time since he left Clemson, but also doing what he was one of the best in the world at once again. If the offense turns around at Oklahoma, look out, they could be the team that really does make a leap in 2025 with John Mateer at quarterback, Ben Arbuckle. That was the thing that was holding back Oklahoma. The fact that Oklahoma was able to beat Alabama with a quarterback that couldn't throw passes down the field, right, in Jackson Arnold, tells you a lot about just how at 6 and 7 the defense was. Now, I don't think that the offense was really that big a deal to be worried about, frankly, if you are Alabama. I think getting Ryan Grubb is going to be helpful to you, and moving Nick Sheridan over is helpful to you. But I think defensively is where you want to see the fit. You want to see that you have the bodies on the back end to run and stop. Deontay Lawson is going to have as much to say about that as anything else, especially knowing that the calling card of an Alabama football team was being able to stop the run and sit on your chest with the run. I think the standard at Alabama is going to have to change sooner rather than later. I don't think that it's going to stay that way for some time, but I do think that you have come past this era of winning a national championship every 4 years. That was one of the wildest statistics of the Nick Saban era for me. If you played for him for 4 years, you won a national championship. You were on a national championship team. You have a ring. That time is gone at Alabama. Don't expect to see it ever again. It was remarkable when it was happening, and even then we were going, can this keep up? And Nick Saban continued to evolve with the times. Kalen DeBoer is not Nick Saban. Nobody is. Nobody will be, right? Kirby Smart is getting close. He still might yet get there again. We're going to see how this Gunnar Stockton thing works out with Mike Bobo. But it's getting so competitive. And the money has gone up. And the advantage that Nick Saban have of going into people's living rooms and closing them on an education and the opportunity to play for championships no longer is at the top of the list of priorities for players. They want to get paid. They want to get paid a lot. And they're going to be transient. They're going to be moving as we are coming toward a settlement that is going to be historic, where we are going to pay players like employees with everything except the benefits as university. And then you're going to have the name, image, and likeness part of it. I'm excited about where college football is going, but I think that is because I'm always excited about progressing. I'm always excited about pushing further. Alabama is going to have to pull out one more move than we think that they have in the bag for me to believe that they're going to be able to keep up the standard they had with Nick Saban, because right now 9 wins feels about where they should be. But we will wait and see. Maybe there is something yet that the University of Alabama can provide that we haven't seen before.